I'll now call to order the City County Council meeting for Monday, September the 23rd, 2019. We'll begin our meeting with the prayer and pledge of allegiance, led by Councilor Wessler.
Dear Lord, thank you for having us living in the United States of America, the best country in the world. And all these folks that live here, all be one in unity. We pray that our streets become safer than what they are now. I think that we will be able to do that with your help, and watch over us and pray for each one of us in here in this room tonight, all the counselors that are in here tonight, that do our best to take care of our constituents. All these things I ask in your name, dear Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilors, please select your green button to indicate your attendance. There are 25 members of council present. This evening, there will be sign-in sheets for anyone wishing to give testimony on the budget. The sign-in sheets are located with our CFO, Bart Brown. So the next item on our agenda is introduction of guests and visitors. Councilor McQuillan.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's always a treat to have some of our hardworking city employees here with us at meetings. Tonight, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize the Policy Director for the City County Council, and more importantly, celebrating his birthday tonight, Mr. Brandon Herget.
Councilor Shreve.
Thank you, President Ostley. One of my particularly strong neighborhood leaders in District 16, Laura Giffel, is with us tonight. Laura is 3, I guess going on 4 years now as president of the Bates Hendricks Neighborhood Association, and there's some great things coming out of Bates Hendricks, in part because of the 2 Chicks and a Hammer, but in part because of the leadership team that Laura has built down there. We welcome her tonight.
Very good. The next item on our agenda is official communications. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hereby notified that regular meetings of the City County Council and Police, Fire, and Solid Waste Collection Special Service District Councils will be held in the City County Building in the Council Chambers on Monday, September 23rd, 2019 at 7:00 p.m. The purposes of such meetings being to conduct any and all business that may properly come before regular meetings of the councils. Sincerely, Bob Osley, President, City County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana, I cause to be published in the Court and Commercial Record and in the Indianapolis Star on Wednesday, September 11, 2019, a copy of a notice of public hearing on proposal number 338, 2019, said hearing to be held on Monday, September 23, 2019, at 7:00 p.m. in the Public Assembly Room of the City County Building. Respectfully, Sarita Hughes, Clerk of the City County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, I have approved with my signature and delivered this day to the Clerk of the City County Council, Sarita Hughes, the following ordinances: Fiscal Ordinance Numbers 17 and 18, General Ordinance Numbers 51 through 55, Special Ordinance Numbers 9 and 10, General Resolution Number 26, Special Resolutions Numbers 31 through 34. Joseph H. Hogsett, Mayor. Mr. President, this concludes the official communication.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have consent? The next item on the agenda is approval of the journals, September the 23rd, 2019. Do I have consent? We'll now proceed to presentation of petitions, memorials, special resolutions, and council resolutions. And since we have none for this evening, we will proceed to the introduction of proposals. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Proposal number 367, introduced by Councilors Simpson and Gray, referred to the Parks and Recreation Committee, urges the Parks Department to keep Riverside Golf Course open while it raises funds to implement the Riverside Master Plan. Proposal number 368, introduced by Councilor Robinson, referred to the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, approves additional appropriations totaling $2,300,000 in the 2019 budget of the Indianapolis Fire Department Federal Grants Fund to support Indiana Task Force 1's National Urban Search and Rescue Response Cooperative Agreement, covering compensation for personnel to participating agency for salaries and travel expenses incurred during deployment and response to Hurricanes Barry and Dorian. Proposal number 367, introduced by Councilor Osili, referred to the Rules and Public Policy Committee, amends the code to comply with IC 36-1-27-4 regarding conflicts of interest in the issuance of building permits and relocates and recodifies existing text to more logical locations. Proposal number 375, introduced by Councilor Simpson, referred to the Administration and Finance Committee, proposes an ordinance of the County Local Income Tax Council to 1, modify the local income tax rate, 2, modify the allocation of the previously imposed expenditure rate, 3, determine how the revenue from the property tax relief rate shall be applied to provide property tax credits in subsequent years, and to cast the vote of the City County Council on such resolution. Mr. President, this concludes the introductions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is special orders, priority business. Proposal numbers 370 through 374 are all rezoning ordinances certified for approval by the Metropolitan Development Commission on September the 13th. If no councilor wishes to call down any of the proposals for reconsideration, the proposals will pass into law. Does anyone wish to call down any of the proposals for reconsideration? Seeing none, the proposals will pass into law. The next item on our agenda is special orders public hearing, and we will be hearing testimony on the upcoming budget. If anyone wishes to speak, they have 2 minutes total to address any or all of the budget items. Madam Clerk, would you please read the first few names on the list?
Thank you, Mr. President. There is one Larry Vaughn.
All right.
We have a change in order, and not discuss the actual budget when, so that I can get ammunition.
All right, and we will be talking about.
Now?
If you give a moment, then.
Well,
Just a second, Mr. Vaughn. Proposal, I want to go through a digest of each of the proposals that you will be speaking to, or one of each, one of which you will be speaking to. Proposal number 321, 2019, approves a tax levy and rate for the Police Special Service District for 2020. Proposal number 322, 2019, approves a tax levy and rate for the Fire Special Service District for 2020. Proposal number 323, 2019, approves the tax levy and rate for the Solid Waste Collection Special Service District for 2020. Proposal number 324 adopts the annual budget for the City of Indianapolis and Marion County for 2020. Proposal number 333, 2019, adopts the operating and maintenance budgets and tax levies of the Indianapolis Airport Authority and establishes appropriations for said municipal corporation for 2020. Proposal number 334, 2019, adopts the operating and maintenance budgets and tax levies of the Capital Improvement Board of Managers and establishes appropriations for said municipal corporation for 2020. Proposal number 335, 2019, adopts the operating and maintenance budgets and tax levies of the Health and Hospital Corporation and establishes appropriations for said municipal corporation for 2020. Proposal number 336 adopts the operating and maintenance budgets and tax levies of the Indianapolis-Marion County Public Library and establishes appropriations for said municipal corporation for 2020. And proposal number 337 adopts the operating and maintenance budgets and tax levies of the Indianapolis Public Transportation Corporation, Indigo, and establishes appropriations for said municipal corporation for 2020. Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Mr. President, I happen to agree with this issue or these issues because they are in the purview of this council. This council has jurisdiction over municipal corporations, which you just mentioned, and they can legally pass any levy and create new districts, and that's in their jurisdiction. So if the people at home watching this is a proper exercise of the council's authority as far as it goes as dealing with municipal corporations. I'm glad to see these corporations are being funded. I'm glad to see that they're having appropriate monies appropriated them for their budgets, and I hope this can continue into the next years to come, notwithstanding property tax caps, which we know that in 2020, the circuit breaker, a lot of people don't understand what that terminology is all about, but I'm sure that we're going to have a big effect on any budget for a municipal corporation when corporations that come into the state of Indiana, because of property tax caps, do not have to pay any taxes whatsoever. In fact, it's in our Constitution, and it's pretty hard language, that the city will have to then go out and search for other sources of funding these municipal corporations. So I agree with the exercise of authority tonight, Mr. President, and the council, because you have jurisdiction over these budgets. And I'm glad that you've fully funded them and done any tax levies that are necessary.
Madam Clerk, would you read the next name, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mandela Moyo.
Council President, members of the council, Mandela Moyo, Director of Community Engagement for AARP Indiana. We want to sort of continue to urge this body to continue to support Indigo's efforts to improve mass transit in the community of Indianapolis. We've all seen the Red Line open, but our hope is that we'll continue to see expanded service, not only through the BRT lines, but to more services more routes and more services for folks, especially 50-plus folks. So we urge this body to continue to support Indigo's budget, and we urge Indigo itself to continue to push forward for mass transit options for older adults and older residents of Indianapolis and Marion County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
There are no more people signed up. Thank you.
Very good, thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 338, referred to Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Proposal 338, 2019, authorizes the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $15 million to procure funds for the acquisition, construction, installation, equipping, and or finances of a fire training facility, together with the expenses in connection with the issuance of the bonds and other related matters. Joe Glass, Deputy General Counsel at the Indianapolis Bond Bank, and Ernest Malone, Chief of the Indianapolis Fire Department, were there to present to our committee. Chief Malone said that the proposed facility is a 15-acre site in the Twin Air neighborhood just west of the Community Justice Center. The two-story training building will have classrooms, computer lab, fitness room, a kitchen, and a gathering place. Chief Malone said the facility will be a climate-controlled apparatus bay area, including a decontamination area and storage for equipment, tools, and protective gear. Excuse me. Mr. Glass stated that the training facility will be financed by property tax-backed general obligation bonds of the city with no levy increase. City will utilize a levy set to roll off in 2020. He said that the interest rate will not exceed 5%, and anticipated terms is 15 years. Councilor Simpson moved by seconded. Councilor Simpson moved, seconded by Councilor Mascari to send proposal 338 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. Motion carried by a vote of 12-0. Mr. President, I so move.
Motion's been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Councilor Adamson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to this proposal, if that could be noted.
Very good. Councilor Mascari.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor also.
Councilor Fanning.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please add me as well as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Johnson.
Thanks, Mr. President. Fear of missing out. I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Very good. All right, any additional comments from councilors? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to proposal number 338?
Thank you, because again, this is appropriate use of the council's authority. And there's only one question, and that is that what are the other expenses as it pertains to the fees and stuff that are incidental to a bond issue? I think if you could explain that a little more, is it going to be 20% of the bond issue or 30% of the bond issue? I think the people at home would like to know about that, but in any way, I was at the committee meeting, and I'm sure that this is going to be a very nice facility if we can actually appropriate the money to build it and not let the money end up in the general fund, as has been in the case in some times when we appropriate money here and then it gets moved to another purpose. But I think that the fire people that are making this city a lot safer by having this training will be able to build this facility. And of course, Indianapolis will be a lot safer city in the future. And it's just good foresight to have a council that agrees on this, and the Republicans and the Democrats agree on this. That's right.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak to proposal number 338?
Evening, Hank Harris, President, Local 416, Indianapolis Professional Firefighters. I first want to thank Chief Malone, IFD Training Chief, Chief Dryman, OFM, IFD CFO Don Sykes, the Bond Bank, the council as a whole, and the mayor's office for helping with this. This has been 40 years coming. There's actually someone in the audience who was in the last recruit class. That was class 54. Retired Chief Mark Harvey is back there. And it's fitting tonight that the council's hearing this proposal, because tonight, the reason why Chief Malone and his staff, who's normally at these meetings, who's not here, is officially graduating class 84 of 64 IFD firefighters who'll be hitting the street tomorrow. Like them, my class kind of had to bum around and use other facilities. My class literally used abandoned structures at the Central State site before it got redeveloped. That's where I threw ladders, that's where I drug hose and did all that. So it's fitting tonight that we're doing this while the chief is graduating 64 new IFD firefighters hit the street tomorrow. A little bit about the site. It addresses the needs that we had yesterday and today, while also putting in the infrastructure to be able to build onto the needs of tomorrow. So it's not just looking at what we need today, it's also being able to build on it. The site has enough room for us to expand. The committee was on 9/11. We didn't know what we were facing before 9/11, but depending on what the future brings, we have room to expand and do that training too. And another thing, it's not just positive for the fire department and the recruits and the members that we represent, it's also a positive to the community. The community members and the children in that community are going to see the next generation of IFD firefighters out there training, out there running, out there working out. And those children will be able to look out and say, hey, that's something I can do. I can give back to my community. I can serve my community and do what we all do. So with that, the locals in full support. We appreciate your support and all the extra co-sponsors. And thank you and have a good evening.
Councilor Jackson. Very good. Thank you. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank retired firefighter, outstanding Councilor Monroe Gray, for his testimony and for his service. He came to the committee to testify in support of the proposal. So I'd encourage our committee members and our council members to all support the proposal and follow the lead of outstanding retired firefighter Monroe Gray. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak to proposal number 338? All right, seeing no one. Are there additional comments from councilors? All right, seeing no one, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. Motion carries 25-0. Proceed to special orders unfinished business. There is no business under special orders unfinished business. So we will now proceed to special orders final adoption. Proposal number 339, referred to Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Proposal 339, 2019 approves and adopts revisions to the Marion County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan as required by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Katie Robinson, Director of Office of Sustainability, stated that the Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan protects people and property from the effects of hazards, such as tornadoes or extreme temperatures, by developing strategies to reduce or eliminate long-term risks. Councilor Simpson moved, seconded by Councilor Oliver. Send proposal 339 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. The motion carried by a vote of 12-0. Mr. President, I so move.
Motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? All right, seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. The motion carries 25-0. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 340, referred to Public Works Committee. Chairman Adamson.
Thank you, Mr. President. With consent, I'd like to take proposals 340, 346. Thank you. Proposal number 340 authorizes intersection controls at the White River Drive and 79th Street in District 2. Proposal number 341 authorizes intersection controls at Aspen Way and Meadowlark Drive in District 13. Proposal number 342 authorizes intersection controls at Camden Street and Markwood Avenue in District 16 and 24. Proposal number 343 authorizes intersection controls at Moltaire Drive and Wakula Court in District 23. Proposal number 344 authorizes intersection controls at Waldmere Avenue and Ray Street in District 22. Proposal number 345 authorizes intersection controls at Griffin Road, Surrey Drive, and Surrey Court in District 23. Proposal number 346 authorizes parking restrictions on Lord Street from College Avenue to 50 feet east of Concordia Street in District 16. And proposal 347 authorizes intersection controls at Terrace Avenue and Ritter Avenue in District 18. Councilor Coates moved, seconded by Councilor Scales, to send proposals 340 to 347 to the full council with a due pass recommendation, and that motion carried by a vote of 10-0, and I so move.
Second. Motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments from councilors? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. Motion carries 25-0. There is no business under special service district councils. There is no business under new business. And so the next item on our agenda is announcements and adjournment. The docketed agenda for this meeting of council having been completed, the chair will now entertain motions for adjournment.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Councilor McQuillan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been asked to offer the following motion for adjournment by Councilors McQuillan and Lewis in memory of Elva Juanita Crenshaw, by Councilor Osterly in memory of Charles Metcalf, by Councilor Jackson in memory of William Barnes. Mr. President, I would like to move the adjournment of this meeting of the Indianapolis City County Council in recognition of and respect for the life and contributions of those persons I have here specifically named. I respectfully ask the support of fellow councilors. I further request that the motion be made a part of the permanent record of this body, and that a letter bearing the council seal on the signature of the President be sent to the family of each person advising of this action.
Thank you, Councilor McQuillan. Hearing no objections, the motion is received and the requests are so ordered. Hearing no further motions, we are adjourned.